I'm fine. Get back to crowd control.
I'm sorry!
The episode starts after a huge tragedy that was avoided by a superhero. His name is Booster Gold, and he's telling people they don't need to worry because he already saved everyone. But we notice from people's expressions that none of them know this superhero. He realizes it too, and has his little robot, named Skeets, do a presentation. During this presentation, citizens learn about the story of the Booster Gold. He came from the future, from the year 2462, to fight against the biggest villains of the 20th century and save the people of the past while keeping the future safe. But nobody was impressed by this story, and they just ditched the gladiator. The superhero felt kinda sad until a young person showed up asking for his autograph, really excited. Booster Gold went to give his autograph, but as soon as the young person read the name on the paper, they got really sad because they thought he was Green Lantern. Feeling down, the superhero returns to the Justice League Tower and begs Martian Manhunter for better missions. Booster Gold wants to fight Darkseid, Gorilla Grodd, or even the Joker himself, but Martian Manhunter says he doesn't understand why he desires to be so famous. Gladiator then says it's not just about being famous, he wants to be a super famous superhero, even more than Martian Manhunter himself. John Johnsey, the Martian Manhunter, says it's this kind of attitude that keeps the Booster Gold in smaller jobs. Abruptly, the alarm in the tower starts blaring. They rush to the command center and see Wonder Woman and Batman asking for help. A terrible threat has come to Metropolis. The Lord of Darkness, Mordru. Booster Gold noticed that John Johns got nervous with the presence of this dark villain. John explains it's because he never felt such a huge level of evil in one being. He fears that unless Mordru is defeated, all life on the planet will be wiped out. We see that Booster Gold got excited about the situation, seeing it as an opportunity to prove himself. Then all the heroes watch through the monitor as Superman fights Mordru. Superman couldn't do anything against this threat because Mordru's powers are magical, and Superman is vulnerable to magic. John Johns then contacts Captain Atom, who was controlling a fire in a nuclear plant. Initially, Captain Atom didn't want to leave because the situation was very dangerous. However, Gian explains they're facing an Omega-level threat. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Captain Atom heads to the battle scene. John also notifies Green Lantern, who joins the mission. He starts calling various heroes to help in this mission, and Booster Gold waits to be called too. We see that John didn't want to do this, but seeming to pity the gladiator, he also sends him on the mission. Everyone is teleported to Earth, where the situation was complicated. Mordru's magic was powerful. As soon as they arrived, Batman and Green Lantern started calling various heroes to help them in the battle against Mordru. However, Batman didn't call Booster Gold to the front line, putting him in charge of evacuating people from the area. Booster Gold didn't like this decision and tried to confront Batman about it. But the Dark Knight didn't argue, and Gladiator had to accept it. Another superhero asked Green Lantern if they really needed to stay there, and Green Lantern replied that Plastic Man was already down there, so they didn't need two heroes who can stretch themselves. With no other choice, Booster Gold accepted the situation and called the other hero to help with the evacuation. Then we see them starting to point the right way for people to run and escape the chaos. That stretchy guy at most returned a stuffed animal that a young girl dropped. He then started complaining to Booster Gold, saying he's not just a guy who stretches, he's superior in everything to Plastic Man. The unfamous superhero stays there alone, helping people head to a safe place. He's really upset because this kind of job won't bring him the fame he desires so much. Besides, staying there doesn't help the Justice League much, as the battle is happening elsewhere. Fame and fortune won't come if he just stays there helping with the evacuation. Suddenly, he hears a boom, and a superhero falls from the sky right in front of him. It seemed to be Superman at first glance, but when he got up, it was actually Superman mixed with Batman's body and speaking with Wonder Woman's voice. At that moment, Booster Gold realizes that maybe staying there controlling the evacuation isn't such a bad idea. After that, a young person appears crying and asking for Booster Gold's help. Someone got trapped in his apartment, which is on fire. The superhero goes there to see who got trapped, and upon entering starts calling for people, but no one answers. He then finds an ant farm and realizes that's what the young person wanted to save. Booster Gold rescues the ants from the fire and returns them to the boy, who thanks him but calls him Green Lantern. Booster Gold gets really annoyed and starts to think that maybe fame isn't for him, and that he should accept being a fifth-rate superhero for the rest of his life. His robot, Skeets, tries to cheer him up, saying he's not a fifth-rate hero, and that one day he'll achieve his goal. Maybe fame is closer than he thinks. Right after that, Booster Gold goes to help a lost lady who wanted to catch the subway. But during this, something unexpected happens. The ground starts shaking and a crack opens in the asphalt, heading towards a building full of scientists. Booster Gold rushes to help and is informed that Dr. Simons is trapped in one of the labs. Booster Gold enters the building and manages to find Dr. Simons, who is still alive but unconscious. As he picks her up, he's impressed by her beauty and thinks that maybe staying there helping people wasn't such a big waste. When Dr. Simons wakes up, she says that everyone there is in danger. She explains that she and her boss were working on an experiment in the lab. They wanted to find an alternative energy source to fossil fuels. However, this new energy source they discovered isn't stable and needs huge amounts of energy to stay balanced. The fire damaged the compartment where this source was contained, and Dr. Simon's boss, Dr. Brown, was caught in the explosion. Now the energy source is out of control and could even destroy the planet, or worse, the whole universe. Booster Gold isn't scared by this and says he'll help her. He just needs to know where this energy source is. We soon find out it's in Dr. Brown himself, who was walking through the city streets, sucking everything in his path. John Johns was at the League Tower coordinating the superheroes in the fight against Mordru, and received a call from Booster Gold. He said there's an emergency there. Something terrible is about to happen. But John Jonesy doesn't pay attention because he considers Booster Gold just a second-rate hero who's taking care of the evacuation, and he hangs up. Booster Gold then pretends that John Z gave him permission to deal with this problem, and asks Dr. Simons what they have to do to stop this artificial black hole. She explains that she invented a gravity inhibitor, a kind of collar that must be placed around Dr. Brown's neck to stop the black hole from growing. She hopes this will also save Daniel, who is Dr. Brown. Booster Gold asks if he's her boyfriend or husband, but the young Dr. Simons says they're just friends, making Booster Gold very happy. The two go to the street to look for Dr. Brown, and soon find him, with the black hole in his chest sucking everything around. Booster Gold takes Dr. Simons to a safe place while trying to put the collar on Dr. Brown. Meanwhile, the Justice League's battle against Mordru continues, and a car flies due to the battle, landing on Booster Gold's head just as he was about to put the collar on Dr. Brown. The black hole is sucking in larger things, increasing its mass, and soon its gravitational power will be strong enough to suck the whole world. Still, Booster Gold keeps trying, but he finds a pregnant woman inside an ambulance who needs help. He decides to stay there to help her and asks Dr. Simons to go after Dr. Brown. After a while, he manages to deliver the baby for the woman, who thanks him but calls him Green Lantern. Booster Gold flies away looking for Dr. Simons, and realizing that several pigeons are being sucked in a certain direction, he discovers she must be there. Booster Gold arrives at the scene and sees everything being sucked into the black hole, including Dr. Simons herself. She can't hold on and starts to be sucked in, but Booster Gold manages to grab her in time and blocks the entrance to the subway where the black hole with Dr. Brown is. Very grateful, Dr. Simons is about to kiss him, but they are interrupted by Skeets, who says Dr. Brown is in the subway. Booster Gold runs after him and sees the black hole in Dr. Brown's chest sucking in an entire train. Before he can act, Booster Gold is hit by another train. He starts to lose hope and feels he doesn't deserve to be called a superhero. Returning to the surface, he and Dr. Simons realize that Dr. Brown is reaching a critical level. As they approach to protect him, Daniel changes the direction of the black hole. Now Booster Gold can get close to it, but the fight between Mordru and the rest of the Justice League was happening right above them. The powers of this Lord of Darkness turned an entire building into a living creature that went after Dr. Simons. Seeing she was in danger, Booster Gold had to go help her. He began to descend on that building, but soon he was caught by it and smashed into the ground. Dr. Brown, realizing this, turned his black hole towards that giant monster, but ended up sucking in Skeets. Luckily, he also sucked in the building, and Booster Gold and Dr. Simons were saved. The man is no longer able to control the black hole, and Dr. Simons says that the only one who can save everyone is Booster Gold. He is hesitant as he has lost all hope in himself. He's just a fraud. But Dr. Simons says that this fraud is the only superhero present in that place. Where are the others? No one else can save the universe, only Booster Gold. She then tells him to fix the situation, and with no other choice, Booster Gold takes the collar and lets himself be sucked into the black hole. As he approaches Dr. Daniel, Booster Gold's legs start to be sucked in, and he uses all his strength to stay out of the black hole and put the collar around the man's neck.
I'm sorry!
It worked, the black hole was deactivated, and Dr. Daniel collapsed. Dr. Simons was very happy, and thanks to the collar, the black hole returned, but spat out everything it had sucked in, including Skeets and Dr. Simons. She then went to Booster Gold and said that everything he did was extremely heroic. For some reason, Booster Gold doesn't want to show himself to her and says that all of this was just a normal day. He says goodbye to her and leaves. Skeet says that moment would have been perfect for a kiss, but Booster Gold says that moment would be worthy only of a real superhero, which he is not. The Justice League finished defeating Mordru, and Stretchy Guy was a key part of that victory. Batman then came to talk to Booster Gold and said he told him to control the people fleeing the area. The young hero says he started doing that, but then had to take care of another situation that was much more urgent. Batman doesn't believe him and says they'll have to talk later. Suddenly, someone asks for Green Lantern's help. Booster Gold gets irritated because his name is not Green Lantern. As he turns around, he realizes it was Dr. Simons. She knows his name very well and asks if he doesn't want to go to dinner with her after finishing cleaning up the area. But Booster Gold says he doesn't do cleaning, he just controls people. The two then hold hands and leave. Stretchy Guy is very jealous of him. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next videos.